Have you ever had a call out, like somebody needed something done, and then you
Mhm.
show up and you're a woman and they are kind of surprised?
Oh
Oh,
my gosh, every single time. And the main thing that I get is, so you actually do the work?
yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, yeah, you can actually look at my hands. They're very rough.
Yeah.
Something my husband complains about all the time. So I do my nails because it's the only.
She believed she could, so she did. Welcome to another inspiring episode of Podcast with Sheila. With me today is a woman challenging convention, Natasha Ferguson. She owns and runs a construction company, and she is winning at it. Toronto's innovative Black female-led Ethel Fox Construction Group. Hello, Natasha, and welcome to Podcast with Sheila.
Hi, Sheila. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on podcast today.
Happy.
So, how has your day been?
My day's been amazing. We're a little bit, I think you're a little bit ahead of us. So it's still quite daytime here. So far, so good.
Great,
Mhm.
great. I've had a very busy day today.
I
Quite,
bet.
yeah. But it's good to. I think at the end of the day, it's good to come on to have a chat, kind of a chat with
That's
somebody
right.
I'm meeting for the first time, but I'm able to kind of bond
Yeah.
from the other end. Yeah, that's a fun bit about it for me, really.
Okay.
So
I bet, and I'm excited to get to know you and your audience a bit more too as well.
sure, definitely. So, who is Natasha? Do you care to give us a little background story of who Natasha really is before we get into the story for today?
Okay, who's Natasha? Natasha is a spouse, a mother, a sister, a daughter, a deliberate creator, and a social entrepreneur.
Great,
That's who Natasha is.
great,
Um, Started in the marketing and advertising world about 20 years ago. 8 years ago, I decided to switch and got myself into construction, and started learning the trades. And I haven't looked back since. Quite enjoy it. I have two daughters, two lovely daughters, and an amazing husband, and a dog named Bubba. And living life here in Toronto, in this great place, in this amazing city in Toronto, Canada.
great. I've got a lot of questions to ask you about your
Yeah.
company because
Mhm.
it looks like it's completely different from what you started with, actually. So I'm a bit interested to know why the switch from marketing straight to construction.
And you know what? Honestly, just being a Black woman in any industry, you'll find that, we definitely have to work a lot harder and put in a lot more energy when it comes to creating success in any kind of industry. So I had been in the marketing and advertising industry for quite some time. I was always token, always having to work really hard, and the turnover in the ad agency world is it's quite expansive. So one day I was just sort of going through another day. I had been traveling to Italy, and it was a 2-day trip, and I come back and found out I was pregnant, and soon after miscarried. I was so stressed out and just stressed with the ongoing. I was a project director and manager, so you're holding all of the pieces of the puzzle, and so everybody's coming to you. And I went to my father at the time, and I cried to him. I said, Dad, I'm so tired of working like this, and I don't like it. And he said, well, why don't you quit? And I'm going to be dying soon in the next year. So quit and come and look after me and figure out what you want to do. And that's what I did. At the same time, I'd met my husband, and we already had a small little outfit running for roofing. And I kind of, I enjoyed that quite so much that I thought, there's so much money in this industry. There's so many ways for us to kind of move forward with this. I decided to take it up a bit more seriously, and we opened up a couple of more companies from there. And then it all sort of just kind of snowballed. It all started happening. And till this day, I just enjoy creating. Um, I enjoy the fact that although it's a male-dominated industry, the construction industry, I seem to stand out, not just because I'm Black, but I'm also a woman.
Woman.
And yeah, so that was interesting for me. I'm sort of a pioneer personality. I like to pioneer new things. So anything with a challenge where I feel like I'm going to be able to do this first really excites me. So that's how I kind of got into the construction industry and why I made the switch.
Great. So first off, let me ask you, do you have male workers or they're all female?
No, so 70% of my team are female and the rest are male. And I have subcontractors and sub trades that I work with that are male. And so there are not a lot of us in the industry because, well, there's a stigma of like, okay, you know what? Construction belongs to the men, and being barefoot and pregnant or a secretary or, you know, keeping everything organized is a woman's job. So in that there's, you know, there's this gender bias, if you want to call it, that this just exists in this industry. And so now it's not about me being Black, it's about me being a woman, which is like a double header, right? It's like a double hit. So I have many interesting stories. And, you know, a lot of people be like, oh, you know what? I thought you were just all women. And I was like, well, if I just hire all women, that doesn't make me any better than the industry that I'm trying to change.
Yeah.
And so my idea is to change that from the inside out and bring more people, women and minorities and women into this industry and show them that they can do it and that it's possible and that there is a lot of money to be made within trades, whether you're a man or a woman.
Have you ever had a call out, like somebody needed something done, and then you
Mhm.
show up and you're a woman and they are kind of surprised?
Oh
What?
my gosh, every single time. And the main thing that I get is, so you actually do the work?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you can actually look at my hands. They're very rough. Something my husband complains about all the time. So I do my nails because it's the only way I can feel like, you know, I'm
Yeah.
not totally, you know, gone over to the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I get it a lot. They mostly, it's never stopped me from getting a job from clients. In fact, clients would love to see more women in this field
Wow.
because, you know, women are seen as nurturers. We're seen as, we're looked at as, you know, we had families, we're organized, we're multitaskers. So right away they just feel comfortable. And
Yeah.
not to knock the men, but I can't tell you how many times I've heard clients agonize about the contractors they had, and they're always men. And you know, we just have a different way of managing things and situations and people. So of course, coming from the background I'm coming from, the corporate background, it's really easy for me to make those skills transfer over and be able to really talk to a client and organize them and get them comfortable. Because I'm a woman and because they've never seen that before, they are always very curious. And part of the reason why I get the job is because they're curious. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's good then. So how long have you been going since you started?
So we started our first company. So my husband and I started the roofing company about 8 years ago. And then he left and I kept going. And then I kept going and going. And even my husband now, he works for a really large company, unionized company in the city. And I literally run the entire business by myself now. So it's been 8 years. We started with interiors and exterior, like interior work about 3 years ago when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Girl, it was crazy. The amount of work because we were literally, I don't know if you know what's happening in Toronto, but it's lockdown city. You cannot go anywhere without a mask. They're very, very strict unlike other countries.
Mhm.
So there were times where it was just completely locked down. Nobody could get any materials. So you can imagine us trying to run this business. And then at the same time, everybody's at home looking at their, you know, crappy wall or something that they've been meaning to fix. And now because they're at home, it's just like glaring and staring at them in their face. So with that came an influx of work that not a lot of the contractors could handle. I myself, at one point, I was managing 12 projects during the summer in tandem. So um, completely blessed on that front. The construction for residential did not slow down at all, at all.
Wow, this is interesting. This is
Mhm.
another thing I wanted to ask you. You know, sometimes when a woman is starting a business and she wants funding to expand and all, it's very difficult getting
Mhm.
funding from the banks and all of that.
Mhm.
Did
Well, I
you?
think it's difficult for us, period. I don't want to point out the obvious, my friend, but like if we're going to talk it real right now, it's not just being a woman. You know, if you are a person of color, then you need to
Exactly.
like, I don't know where you're going to get that money, but it isn't from any kind of bank. So that's a whole other little separate issue that we run into.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so is it hard?
yeah,
I mean, where we're at right now with women issues and covering them, and you know, the whole Me Too movement, there are a lot of um, uh, programs for women in business, which
okay.
is awesome, great. I myself just won the Women in Business Award and grant in the city of Toronto
Great.
recently for 2021.
Yeah,
And there were about 1,000 applicants. And I beat out those 1,000 applicants, and then there was a 300-person shortlist, and then 8 women were chosen. And I was the only woman that was running a construction company, the business with the business model of my kind. So that really put into my mind that, well, you know, I'm a trailblazer,
yeah,
and being a trailblazer gives me certain responsibilities to kind of open up the floodgates for other women, young, old, just getting out of school, maybe coming in from another country where they're disenfranchised. So I really saw that as an opportunity for me to be able to build something that would help out our sisters and help women to really excel in this industry that has so much money in it.
yeah,
You know, so much. Like if I said to you, Sheila, you know what, take a 1 month course in drywalling and mud and taping, you might say to yourself, well, Natasha, that's ridiculous. I'm not trying to, do all of that. But if I tell you that if you just learned that one trade and then you posted something and you got 6 or 7 calls to come in and put drywall or to patch a hole, and somebody told you were going to get paid anywhere from $28 to $45 an hour, I bet you would learn that
yeah,
drywall.
yeah,
And that's what it is. It's just about educating
yeah,
women in this, in this industry, and
yeah,
knowing what's out there. It's not just like you can be a plumber
yeah,
or because they think about trades, you think about plumbing, you think about electrical
yeah,
and stuff like that. There are so many facets and so many different trades that you can learn, and have it as a freelance business.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know, yeah,
Even if it's not for freelance, for your personal use.
absolutely.
Yeah, because I think
Absolutely.
the last time I needed somebody to fix some mirrors on my wall, and
Yeah.
just a call out fee was £30. The job has not been done. And
You
seriously,
can,
if I knew how
yeah,
to do it, I would have done it because I had to drill holes in the wall and all of that. I didn't have, all the tools, and I
right.
wasn't sure I was going to get it right. I didn't want the mirror to fall and crash and all of
Yes.
that. So,
Yeah.
so
But you see how they never showed up.
yeah,
Right. So it's just like little things like that. Like personally for me, I could build my own house if I wanted to right now.
yeah,
Sometimes I'll be on job sites and my husband will be like, oh, let's do it this way. And I'll say, no, it needs to be engineered that way. And we should do it this way. And it turns out saving us money, time, the client money and time. So really anybody can do this. Like, obviously we're not like strong like men, right? We can't pick up what they might pick up, but I've also come up with 7 different ways with which women can position themselves
okay,
to carry certain weight, to do certain jobs. And I'll be posting those soon
well,
on my social media, and it's going to be free, like how to distribute the weight properly, because you know what, we're not men, okay, and they have different body structures than us. I'm 5'10" and I have medium bone size and I'm very strong for but not everybody's like that. But there's a way for you to do that. Nobody's asking you to pick up a 500-pound stone because nobody can do that,
yeah,
not even a man. So there are ways that, and if you look at how the pyramids were built.
Mhm.
They weren't putting the stones, they had pulley systems, they had a bunch of different things to organize, building. So,
Great, great. What are some of the exciting moments on this job?
I mean, I think just every job that I have, my relationships with my clients, because you're working in their home, some of them, you become very close with them. They become very close with you and attached, especially if you're in a project that you're going for 5-6 months, So for me, it's like that communication. What I love is the communication with the client. And I also like, drawing stuff, coming together, like, putting stuff together and showing it to the client and them being like, wow. And then my third thing is when the project is done and it's just stunning. And you see from the very beginning, of this, maybe it was a dirt patch or something. And now it's just this beautiful thing that's come from your thoughts and creativity and your team
Yeah.
and the teamwork, right? So
Yeah.
that's what's really makes me happy. Doing the work and excites me.
I also read that you were named best business in Canada by the Canadian Business Review Board. How did you feel?
How did I how did I feel about that? Oh my gosh. So many amazing things are happening, Sheila. Like you'd be surprised when, you really put out there and, you know, you've got the man upstairs looking after you because you're helping people and you are putting yourself out there. For me, it's not about the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I make great money in my business, but the fact that I can actually, you know, mentor. Like I have so many women that work with me, like my assistant. She used to be work in a bakery.
Oh,
Now she's worked with me for 2 years. She knows like 5 trades. She's in construction now. If she ever wanted to leave my job, she could go and get a job now.
yeah.
So it's really about like the excitement of being able to change something that's going to like help other people,
Yeah.
and especially women, and we need that right now. So much has changed with this pandemic. So many people lost their jobs. um so everybody's kind of looking for a career change or to find themselves again or to reinvent themselves. So
Yeah.
I feel like this is like super timely. And yeah, I'm super excited about just being able to kind of lead this in the forefront and having these kind of discussions with people like yourself.
I want us to be able to talk to young girls or women who, like you said, have lost their jobs, are in a
Yeah.
great situation, looking for something to do. What can we say to them um, if they don't have a trade, or even they have a skill but they don't believe it can help them make money? What can we say to them to kind of help them take the first step?
Well, the first thing I would say is contact me because I want to hear from you so that
Great,
I can provide that guidance.
great.
Because at the end of the day, the best way to get ahead of anything is to learn from somebody else who already has done it.
Agree.
And having a mentor is extremely important, whether that be myself or yourself or somebody who's done it, who's been very successful at what they're doing. You grab the mentor, you explore. We have, the internet where you can find ways to do anything. You can find like-minded people, and the third thing is not to second guess yourself. If you did wallpaper and you're like, well, I can't get a job in wallpaper, you'd be surprised how many jobs I get for wallpaper. And just doing something as simple as wallpaper, because not everybody knows how to install wallpaper.
I
If
don't
they
know how to
did,
do it, Natasha, so it's not that simple.
girl, I'm telling you. So, you
Yeah,
have this, you have to be able to see, like, not everybody is like an entrepreneur or thought like this,
yeah,
but, you know, you don't need to be an entrepreneur to be freelance. That's a good word,
yeah.
freelance,
Brilliant. Yeah,
right? Because the world is changing and jobs are going to be different now. People are
exactly.
working from home. The
Yeah,
interview process for working from home is completely different. It's harder because now everybody knows you're working from home. You can mess around and not do the work. So they want everything from your certificate, this, they want to know if you've worked like this. So it's just different, right? So you want to just be able to explore and to understand the industry and understand where it's at, and also to see that, you know what, there is so much opportunity here, and not because I'm a woman or because, you know, I only have a little bit of experience that I can't do it. Because you have to understand, all the men that are out there that are in this industry, they never, most of them never went to school for that.
Yeah.
They never went to school for this. They learned it maybe from their father, or they learned it whatever that, and now they, you know, they started it, and they've been doing it and doing it and doing it, and now they're making money, or they work for a company making good money, you know. So explore that, get your mentors, and don't be afraid to explore some kind of a natural ability that you have, because we're here for such a short time,
Exactly.
and you have to be able to see the gifts that God's given to you in order to materialize your dream, and what you think is something that you would never be into.
Yeah.
You don't know, because I never thought in a million years, when I was traveling, working in France, all over the place, you know, building the press office for the Rwandan government, I could tell you some stories of the things that I have seen, and the things that I've done in my career, that I would ever be a construction person with rough hands and driving a pickup truck. If you had told me this maybe 15 years ago, I probably would have laughed and been like, okay, great. Because I was all about my hair and this and that. And um, no, I love doing this. So don't count yourself out. You know, go on YouTube and check out how to screw something in so you can get those mirrors up, Sheila.
Yeah.
You're going to be waiting for a long time if you wait for somebody to put those mirrors up.
Yeah. I have to because I don't. I no. I have a set of them that I
Yeah.
want to put in my room, but I've
Yeah.
held on to it because I'm not ready to pay.
But that's what you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so that's the start, is like saying like, you know what, I could probably do this myself.
Yeah.
Because what makes you any different than the person that's not showing up? What, he just knows how to use a drill.
Exactly.
That's it.
My God.
So, you know, believing in yourself and making sure that you know, you
Yeah.
don't count yourself out. That's
Exactly.
what I would say to the kids. And even just to women who are like retired, and you know, women who have lost their jobs or are looking for a second career, they hate what they're doing. This just reaches all across the board, right?
Wow. What is a typical day like for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, Sheila, I wake up and I have, the first thing I have is a fresh cup of anxiety.
Oh.
I start my day off with an anxiety attack, girl, and that's how I start my day off. I don't know how anybody else. It's quite normal for me. And then I get my 3-year-old. Well, actually, it's a lie. I'll sit and text. I'll call my assistant, text her. Um, Sometimes clients will get me at 6 in the morning, already asking like what's happening.
Yeah.
And then by 8 o'clock, I'm out the door. I drop my daughter at 9 to her
Cool.
preschool, and then I'm on the road, going from job to job. Some of the jobs I'm working on the jobs, and the other ones I'm meeting with clients, doing client meetings and stuff like that. I finish my day around 2:45 when I have to pick up my daughter, and if I'm not picking her up, my husband is, and then I will be working until around 4 or 5 o'clock. If it's really crazy, sometimes I don't get home until 8.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, that's a typical day for me. And then it starts all over again. And I have maybe 2 days during the week where I'm in studio doing my drawings and stuff like that.
Oh, so let's talk about the things you actually really do. You do the interiors, like interior decor, and then the
So
exterior. Yeah.
yeah, so I do the interior. So interior construction.
Construction.
So that's why I called the company Construct, because the definition of that is to build.
Build.
So I do everything from start to finish. So consulting, like supplier, product picking, transport. We do full interior builds, and we match that with design. So there's a bit of interior design there, interior construction, exterior construction, landscape design and architecture,
Oh,
um, home additions, home builds. So yeah, and my trades are roof, roofing, drywall, mud and taping, tiling. I'm an amazing tiler. And also so patio outdoor tiling. I also design and do custom work. So I've done custom grottos and like custom pergolas and my gosh, water features. I've built water features with my hands. Painting, of course, which is sort of a no-brainer. So I've learned quite a bit of trades. I have some carpentry under my belt and some making under my belt as well.
Did you learn them? Did you go to, did you do special programs for them, or you just had to pick them on as you went?
Yeah. So they don't have, this is the biggest thing. If you wanted to go and take a course in tiling, they do not have this.
Oh.
So a lot of, you'll see that a lot of tilers, a lot of people that have been in the industry, they've had, they've apprenticed, they've mentored their father. Like I have a guy that he's a plumber. He learned plumbing from his dad. And now he's 60 years old and he's a plumber and he's teaching it to his son. One of my workers, he's a carpenter and he's from India. He just came from India. His father and his father's father, they were all carpenters. And so he's naturally, didn't go to school for it, but naturally can build whatever you want him to build. So for me, my father was a tradesperson. He serviced, my dad can fix anything really. He services, fixes and builds fridges and air conditionings and all of that stuff, but he's an all-around trade as well. So I learned a lot of the stuff from him. He would take me on his jobs when I was like 5 years old. So I was like wallpapering at 5, painting. I was just in Florida on a roof, helping my dad repair a air conditioning unit, a cooling unit. So yeah, so I picked up stuff. I'm pretty easy to pick up stuff. And I also have a background in design. So I've learned on the job. I've learned from my other subcontractors and I just practice. I have my house, so I'll do things and it turns out amazing. I even have done 2,000 square foot of stain on a floor, which was the worst thing ever. Like I would never do that again. I would just get a sub. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
But you know the thing about being handy, like being creative and all of that, anytime you move into a different country or you move somewhere else, you easily get into work. You don't have to wait for somebody to employ you because you know things. You straight away start working. Like if you have the right to do it, you go straight into it rather than waiting to get a job.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the biggest thing with the trades. There's just so like as a carpenter here in Canada, you can get anywhere from $40 to $80 an hour. And there's no carpenters. Like it is so hard to find like carpenters. Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Probably where you guys are, it's the same thing. And this is why I can't understand it because, and this is what I want to educate women onto. It's like, you're making that kind of money. You're making more than an RN. You're making more than a doctor. I mean, it's crazy. And everybody always needs stuff built. It's just like my husband, he's a master roofer. There's no way anywhere we go in this world. Have you ever seen a house with no roof on it?
No.
I haven't. So, you know, or have you ever seen a house with no walls?
No.
Or it's, you know what I mean? And people have to use toilets. So toilets need to be installed, all of this stuff. So it just never goes away. Whereas if you're in a corporate setting, things are always changing. People are always losing their job. If the market drops, that's it. You could lose your job, but people will always fix their homes. Two things people like to do is like home renovations and beauty.
Exactly.
That's why those two things never ever drop out of the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's so true. And during the pandemic, I realized that a lot of people did home improvement. And because we were on lockdown as well. And I think that when the ban was lifted a little bit, because they said just the food shops, just the grocery shops should be open. All of that should be closed. But some of the shops had home homeware, and
Yes.
so they kept it open. So
Yes.
the ban was lifted a little bit. I think I went to one of the shops. I wanted an under sink cabinet. And when
Right.
I go to the shop, it was empty. You know, that section of the homeware things.
Oh, because everybody's buying stuff.
So
There's nothing.
I asked the gentleman, is it that you run out of supply, or because of the pandemic, you're not getting your goods in? What's happening? Because the place looks empty. He said people have been buying. And I said, but I thought we were under lockdown. So he said, yeah, when they come to do their grocery shopping, then they buy.
That's it. I have a client that's still waiting for a vanity. It's been 8 weeks. When we got the vanity, it had a chip. And we both opened it up and I'm like, no. And I was like, the client was like, maybe it's in the back. So we could, I'm like, no, it was in the front. And me and him just looked at each other. We're like, Lord, help us. Why? And it has literally been 8 weeks since we returned it, and we're waiting for that piece to come in. And there's a lot of stuff at the borders too, like everybody's feeling it. You know, I know in the States, a lot of the grocery stores are empty, and they're just having a hard time getting things released, and materials are expensive, the lack of materials. So it's not a game. Like, there's a lot of people doing renovations. Everybody wants work done. People can't afford, especially here in Canada, where the housing market is just ridiculous. Like you're not getting a 3-bedroom for less than, you know, 800,000. So that's where we're at right now there. And so people are not moving. They're just renovating. So a lot of tear downs, build ups, additions, renovations of bathrooms.
Because we live in the house. We're living most of our lives in the house rather than out. So you would want to keep it tidy, comfortable.
Absolutely. You can't find a maid down here to come clean a house. No, you can't find that at all, because everybody's getting their house clean. So there are just some businesses that are flourishing throughout this pandemic. Our industry is definitely one of them, for sure.
Wow. I just pray that, because I usually talk a lot about women trying to find something to do to earn extra money on the side. I just pray that by some miracle, somehow they'll be able to sit down and know that this area is where I can actually
it's amazing.
Because like, just like I said, people are, you know, one time I was in a group, I work with women, and I was saying my back is aching, and I was talking about a lot of pains and then one of the ladies said, but Sheila, you do a lot of things, so how do you keep up with the cleaning in the home and everything? I said, I do it myself. Then she said, why don't you get one of these domestic workers? And I said, workers here? Then she said, yes, they are domestic workers. They'll come and work for you. They do all your laundry, your ironing, your cleaning, and then you pay them. So they do it once a month, top to bottom clean. Then like during the week, you just do the little bits. And then I'm just thinking, this is huge.
Right.
There are a lot of people who would need this kind of service.
Oh my gosh, it's insane. I still can't find a cleaning lady. Like it's so awful. Like, and I'm very picky about so I will do it myself too, but I'm just so busy all the time. And so my husband and my kids, like I've had to make schedule and say, like, this is what needs to happen. We need to, you know, this bathroom needs to be cleaned once every other week, because it's what we can handle and stuff like that. But it's this whole industry, this entire world has been changed and pulled, you know, upside down. And so we need to learn how to like coexist in these kind of situations, and to explore other industries that are not like gender, you know, gender specific. And then just getting rid of that gender bias, you know. That's why I'm here talking to you today, because I'm hoping that so many, you know, women will hear this and they'll be like, it'll spark something, and you know, you'll see more people in the industry.
Exactly. Wow. Now we'll take a short break, and when we come back, it will be the time of truth, where we'll get to know you a bit more through basic questions. Okay. So what will this be? Tea, coffee, or hot chocolate for you?
Coffee.
Black or white?
Black.
Who is one of your heroes, if you have any?
Nanny of the Maroons.
Okay. What do you like most about you?
I'm funny. My sense of humor.
What makes you happy?
Good food,
Great. Do
comfort
you
food.
believe in miracles?
Yes, absolutely.
What is your mission in life?
To teach and to show others their gifts.
Finish these sentences. I will love to.
I would love to. I would love to see this pandemic go.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
All right.
Yeah. I will forever treasure.
I will forever treasure my mother, my late mother that passed.
I pray.
I pray for continued abundance and for the guidance of the good Lord to keep coming in front of me. He's been great to me.
I cannot.
I cannot deal with foolish people. Sorry. I'm not about it. And trust me, I've been seeing pure fools up in here. So, yeah, I guess.
I believe.
I believe in myself.
Great. What will your final message be to our listeners as we wrap up?
You know what, guys? Things are changing, but you got to believe in yourself, and believe that you can always start from where you are, because you can, no matter what's going on in your life. So those are words to live by.
Where can our listeners connect with you?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Ethel Fox Construct.
Great. We would like to say a massive thank you for coming on Podcast with Sheila today, Natasha.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it immensely. Thank you.
Also did. I did. If you've been listening in, this is season 2, episode 30 of our podcast series, where we've been bringing your way seasoned guests with inspiring real life stories to share with us. Do not miss out on all these lovely experiences. Subscribe and be notified when a new episode is released. Whilst at it, please drop us a rating. We have a video presentation of this episode on our YouTube channel. Just search for Podcast with Sheila on YouTube and you'll find us. Until we meet again.